Up, YouTubers? Welcome back to another episode of Common Sense Grifting. Uh, Trump went kind of crazy while I heard Trump went kind of crazy while I was at work today, so I didn't get to listen to all of it, but he went crazy even for his own standards. Total like I'm a pirate now type of vibes. uh, I'm a psycho pirate who's hell bent on winning an unwinnable war. So, yeah, that's where we're at, I think, right? I don't know.
Say they would be war
Let's let
crimes.
ABC
President Trump
fill me
threatening
in.
to decimate every bridge and power plant in Iran if the country doesn't meet his deadline tomorrow to open the Strait of Hormuz. The president outlining his plan of attack after sharing new details on this weekend's daring rescue of a second U.S. airman shot down behind enemy lines. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest from the White House.
President Trump is giving Iran until 8 p.m. Tuesday night to make a deal.
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
If not, the U.S. will dramatically escalate its attacks, and for 4
So they're gonna nuke all of Iran in one night. That's like all I'm hearing him say there. The fuck? Ugh, let's hope not. Time will tell. Oh my god, dude. Well, I guess I've submitted myself to the mercy of this madman a long time ago. A lot of other Amerifats haven't. Because, whatever.
hours, he says, target Iran's civilian infrastructure.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again.
Iran saying they would
Every
reciprocate
business.
any such attack. Some say the U.S. targeting this
This doesn't sound like the art of the deal is working out for Trump right now, Ugh, and they blew up this bridge, I guess.
infrastructure could be viewed as a potential war crime.
You know, the war
As a potential war crime. I love how the American media always has to try to give him the benefit of the doubt because they're just as, racist and psychotic, or in some of the same ways, where they're like, they treat every fucking oppositional country as if, oh, evil regime that can only be destroyed via bombs.
war crime is allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Analysts say the rules of engagement vary.
Got to consider whether this is dual use infrastructure. So if it's purely for civilians, then it's off limits. If it's being used for military purposes, then
Yeah, they bombed universities. So what was the justification there? Dude, I mean, like, you could that's literally just an argument to justify anything in Iran. Justify bombing anything in Iran because you can literally make an argument that any resource, any building, any tool could be used by military. But it's awesome. These guys don't give a fuck about the Geneva Convention or reality, and they're just being like, I think we'll define what is civilian infrastructure.
depends on the legal review. It can be struck.
Earlier, Iran and the U.S.
Totally.
received a draft proposal from media.
And the legal review of this war is that it was engaged and started by the U.S. totally illegally the U.S. was engaging in perfidy, meaning they bombed while they were doing debate or negotiations. Why'd I call that debates? They started bombing well, you know, they pretended to be in negotiations with Iran, and they started bombing Iran anyway. Called perfidy. So, nothing the U.S. is doing in this war is legal. Everything they do in this war is against Iran is illegal. And I don't even feel right calling it a war at this point because, you know, neighbors dropped something. Because it's just you know, well, you can call, I feel imperialist war of aggression would be a better term, but this onslaught against Iran, more of a apt term, I think.
Mediators from Egypt, Pakistan, and Turkey calling for a 45-day ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz to try and find a way to end the war. Iran rejected the proposal and issued its own 10-point plan. U.S. officials described the counter-proposals as not constructive to negotiations. The president came to the briefing room to tout the daring rescue of those American airmen.
I love the narrative that these guys that this news channel tries to spin to fucking, yeah, the U.S. are the ones who are the real productive negotiators in this situation.
Shot down Thursday over Iran.
In the United States military,
Totally.
we leave no American behind.
Asked if Iran must make a deal by his Tuesday deadline or open the Strait of
I saw on Twitter Iran might have caught a pilot, but I haven't been able to verify that for myself. And that they're banning me, dude. The deep state is after me. What the heck, actually? Because I got suspended on Twitter for posting too many mean jokes in the comments of people I don't like. Probably. They added a temporary label. Oh my god, bro. Who cares? Do I need to... Can I even use Twitter from... What the heck? Did Twitter go down or something? What the fuck? Bah! This is what I say, bro.
Bruh.
There. I should scroll Twitter for the post I'm looking for. Anyway, let's get back to the real issue at hand.
Hormuz, or both. The president said Iran must make a deal that's acceptable to him, and it must include the free traffic of oil. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Who's going to be at the press conference? Who's not going to be? So, Tiffany, probably you got to coordinate.
Yeah, we'll come. Mr. President, how would it not be a war crime to strike Iran?
Because they killed 45,000 people in the last month. More than that. It could be as much as 60. They killed protesters, they're animals. And we have to stop them, and we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. They want a nuclear weapon. They've been trying for a long time. I stopped them with the Obama horrible Iran nuclear deal. I stopped them in a lot of different ways. We got rid of Soleimani, the evil genius, who was an evil genius. We got rid of him. And then we stopped him with the B-2 bombers not so long ago, and if we didn't do it, Israel and the Middle East would have been extinguished by now.
What other points did we hear from you?
Why'd you move the deadline, sir? Why'd you move the deadline? Why did I move it? Gave them a chance. Not going to be moved again, but I gave them a chance. And I hope they take the chance.
I'll turn down the video volume.
Are you on board with the 40 you in?
He left already.
NBC. So bad. It's such a bad network. It's such a pathetic. Is this your camera? You what, fool? Go ahead, yes, who's talking about 45 days?
Reports this morning that mediators are putting forth a 45-day ceasefire.
The only one that's going to set a ceasefire is me. I haven't set any ceasefire.
So you're not on board.
But they will. They'd like to have a ceasefire because they're getting obliterated. So we'll see how they behave. Okay. Number one, you have to have a lot of
Was
courage.
this today?
Because the chances of doing it were very small.
Good.
And
How are
it's
you?
amazing. We had nobody even injured. It's amazing. It never happens when pilots go down in war and you're in tough territory. Vietnam and places like Iran, they're tough. They know how to fight. They're nasty. Very rarely do you go in because you're going to send 200 people in on a mission, and that mission will likely be
They sent
unsuccessful.
200 people in on this fucking pilot capture. Okay. That's cool, I guess.
You're going to get one person and you're going to lose 200 people. So we did something that was risky and it worked out amazingly well. We have a great military.
Are you scared you're going to lose like the diplomatic?
Could have happened.
If it seems like diplomatic talks are picking up, are you willing to hold off on attacking?
Well, I want to say I don't even want to talk about it because I've given them chances and they haven't taken them. So I don't want to really talk about it. Okay?
Alright, and then you get all these fucking, like, NPCs in the background just... You know, like, literally one of the most demented and evil people currently threatening the future of humanity as a collective with this Iran war. And then everybody's like, oh, I want to beat this guy. Sounds pretty good to me.
Talk about it because I've given them chances and they haven't taken them. So I don't want to really talk about it. Okay? Highly unlikely. They've had plenty of time. In fact, they asked for 7 days. I said, I'm going to give you 10. But at the end of 10, all hell's going to break out if you don't get there.
Yeah, so we're kind of all just sitting on our hands right now, praying Trump doesn't do something fucking totally berserk tomorrow. And he actually does take a de-escalatory ramp. Or just leaves, but that's unlikely.
Mr. President, do you expect Vice President Vance to continue?
Well, he is, and we have Steve Woodcock, Jared Kushner talking. They're all unified and they're all talking.
Do you expect the Vice President could be involved in an in-person meeting with officials?
Could be.
In the coming days?
Could be. Could happen.
What else do you hear from Iran?
Wall Street, do you have a message for the
I love his manners.
We love you. Mr. President.
What kind of advice?
Well, the second thing has a lot to do with the
I
first.
should have curated which bits I talked,
Bring in religion, and we have. You know, you see what's going
which
on.
bits I listened to.
There's a real resurgence in religion, and we like that. Mr. President, are you okay?
The audio is so awful, but he's just like, fuck it, I'll answer any question today.
I never stop supporting you, ever. You're going to talk about it today at 1 o'clock. But how great was that rescue mission? Some people say they've never seen it before.
And it's not just the Tim Pool.
It's two pilots. It was two. And remember, the first day we went into an open desert, and that helicopter has so many bullets. You would have respected helicopters, and you would have said no way it could stay. Right. And it is loaded up with bullets. That's why we had to go a different way with the other one. The other was tougher because it was, longer, the timing and the mountainous terrain. He was amazing because he was able to get to a place and to climb when you're injured, to be able to climb that high was really incredible. But they're both doing good. They say it has never really been done before for two. It's been done on occasion for one, but two. When a plane goes down into truly hostile territory, you would rate that top of the line hostile. You would say can't be much tougher. Tough people, tough fighters. And that was central right there. That was central. That was Iran plus. And when planes go down in territories, whether it's Vietnam or Iran, you sort of equate the level of fighting ability, I would say. You rarely go in because you have to, we had 200 people go in there. And
So they sent in 200 people? Or is that a misdirect? Because I feel like a lot of stuff that was coming out of media over the weekend was intentionally misdirective. To, misdirect Iranian intelligence away from the pilot, or as to not, they were playing some mind games over this, over the airwaves for this helicopter or this jet pilot, I think. But if it was 200 people and they lost 2 helicopters, I don't see how everybody made it out. I feel like that's a little too many people to safely, evacuate everybody out if you lose 2 aircraft and the mission, right?
Surrounded by guns all over the place, guns, missiles, and everything. You can lose 200 people for the sake of getting one. So as much as we want to get our wounded and get our people out of there, we want
to feel about how the lethality of our military.
Well, I think they've seen it for the last 40 days. There is no military. Look at what we did with Venezuela and how well that's worked out. We're taking in hundreds of millions of barrels of oil. It's been an amazing relationship. We get along with. It's the best thing that ever happened to Venezuela.
Oh my God, bro. Wow, we put Delcy Rodriguez in charge and started allowing Venezuela to sell their oil to us. What a great relationship. We totally fixed things over there. As if that wasn't what Maduro has been wanting to do the whole damn time. Maybe he just wasn't so as pliant to the U.S. end of the deal.
They're back on track. They're doing more business, even though we're essentially a partnership on the oil. They're doing more business now in Venezuela than they've ever done before. Money's coming in like it's never come in before. It's amazing. And frankly, we could do the same here. Because if I had my wish, I would just like to take the oil. But I don't know that the American public wants that. They want us to go in, do what we have to do, and get out. You know what, we went in for a very
I'm a pirate now.
Regime change, but we got regime change. This is a whole different regime. This is
in Venezuela.
They're more moderate. They're smarter, much smarter. And, we blew up one regime, we blew up another regime, and now we're dealing with a third, and it is more moderate. It's better.
Is he talking about Iran or Venezuela?
That seems to be a byproduct. We did it for a simple reason. You know what that is? No nuclear weapon.
Okay, Iran.
They will never have a nuclear weapon. Now, on top of that, we've decimated their military. We've not got their navy.
Well, and I feel like he's also getting fed bad information because all the sycophants around him want to make him feel better so they can get a promotion or stay in his good graces. But yeah, we didn't replace the regime with a more moderate one.
Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, most of their missiles are gone, most of their drones are gone. We have done a hell of a job, and their leadership is gone. Their radar is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, and they'll get a lucky shot off. And, if you shoot enough shots into the air, you're going to hit something. and that's what happened. But our military is great. We built a military that's great. I rebuilt the military in my first term, and I'm using it in my second term.
And sir, do you have a message for the crew of Artemis II as they get ready to do a lunar flyover?
I think they're fantastic. You know, Jared, and not Jared, this is my other Jared. I have two Jareds in my life, right? Jared's done a fantastic job at NASA, and he's been amazing. And
Wait, what?
Everybody told me he was going to be good. I didn't know he'd be that good. And he's got that thing hopping. He's got NASA hopping.
Jared Kushner.
He was an NASA.
He's pinning the NASA success on Jared Kushner. Yeah, man, totally. That was Jared's doing.
Astronaut. He's done this. Very successful
I don't know.
guy, and he's doing
I don't know
Does
enough
it add to the
details.
meaning that this is happening in the 250th year of American independence?
Well, it's happening then, and it's also happening at a time where we're in a very, very powerful, you could call it a military operation. People like me to call it that because they don't like me using the word war. Because they say, he said war. But let's go.
Oh my god, bro. He's just saying the quiet part out loud. Ugh. He's too dumb to even fucking play these mind games, I guess. So, but I feel like the people, I don't know. I feel like the people that feed him the information, like, about this stuff are not telling him the full truth most of the time, you know? Anyway.
A military operation, but no, Jared's doing a great job. NASA's amazing, actually amazing, and that's some ship.
And he's like too arrogant to even follow his advisor's advice when they say, hey, if you want to do this, don't call it a war, because then, you know, there might be some legal challenges. Or Congress will be able to take action if they ever even care about it. At least they even want to take action against this, you know.
And so risky. Personally, I wouldn't want to do it. Okay, we all have courage. I would prefer not to.
Mr. President, on your arm, there's a pretty significant.
Derangement syndrome so bad that you got people on Twitter. Looks like they're even rooting for Iran.
Yeah, they're sick people. They're sick people, and they're weak people. You know, people that are rooting for they're weak, ineffective people. They lost, but you put them up in front, put them right in front of me, right here, and they wouldn't open their mouth. They wouldn't open their mouth. They're very weak, ineffective people.
Yeah, dude, actually do put me right there. I want to be right there so I can, you know, throw some funny jokes at them.
Group of veterans.
Because
You know what I mean.
You shed between Arlington
Treatler.
You gotta be kidding. This was approved 100 years ago. You know that. Never got built. It was stopped by a thing called the Civil War. That circle has sat there vacant for hundreds, like 150 years or something. They tried to do it again in around 1901, but it never happened. No, I think we're doing very well. I think it's going very good. And veterans are the ones that should like it. It's called the Triumphal Arch. It's in honor of the veterans.
Mr. President, what would you say to the people who might be concerned that bombing civilian power plants could be a war crime?
I'm not worried about it. You know it's a war crime? Having a nuclear weapon. Allowing...
You know it's a war crime? Having a nuclear weapon. Okay, well, I guess Israel and the U.S. have been committing a war crime every fucking day of the last, I don't know, 70 years. Yeah. Okay, I didn't.
A sick country with the...
If he actually knew stuff, like, he could be so funny off the rip, but he just doesn't know stuff, and he's just like an absolute clown ass. So he makes this bullshit up. you know. Should I put the mic down? Is that better? I don't know.
Demented leadership have a nuclear weapon. That's a war crime. And if I allowed that to happen...
The pot's really calling the kettle black here, you know.
Like 7 other presidents did. Every president said, you know, many of them are saying be off different regimes.
Oh my god, where were we? Fuck me.
Hundreds, like 150 years. And if I allowed that to happen, like 7 other presidents did. Every president said, you know.
And it's not even a pot calling the kettle black, because there's not really a kettle in this allegory I made up. Anyway, because, I mean, if you just look at Iranian leadership, they are the, you know, they are objectively the adults in this conflict that have been trying to handle their differences with the U.S. peacefully through negotiations. And the U.S. has just been, in response, been doing economic warfare in the form of sanctions, and now bombing them in the middle of negotiations against Iran. You know, regardless of your opinion on the IRGC, they are the restrained party.
You know, many of them are saying be off the record, and they're saying behind the scene, they should have done this a long time ago. For 47 years this has been going on, and every one of those presidents should have done it. And actually, as you know, off the record, they're doing it off the record because they haven't got the courage to say it. Those presidents are giving me a lot of credit. It should have been done by Obama, should have been done by Clinton, should have been done by the Bushes. It should have been.
Yeah, bro's acting like the JCPOA, Obama never did the JCPOA, and he didn't tear that up at the behest of Israel. Yeah. It was done by Obama. I mean, at least, like, Obama did something to push things in the right direction in terms of how the U.S. treats Iran. You know, it wasn't all the way good, but it was, I don't know, some middle of the road bullshit, at least.
Been done, and it would have been a lot easier if it was done a long time ago, right? You agree with me? Sir. You know the war crime? War crime is allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And take a look at the countries. Take a look what if they would have had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. You'd have no Israel. You'd have no Middle East right now, and they would have been coming here.
No,
I'm not gonna let that.
You'd have no Middle East. Okay, so does he answer more questions here?
Well, that's what they need. They have a long way to go.
Yeah, I was listening to Mike's stream when he was doing it. I was listening to Mike's stream.
We don't want another Neville Chamberlain. Do we agree? We don't want Neville Chamberlain.
And I was like, why the fuck is jazz playing in the background while he says all this insane shit? You know, like, it's so good. Like, I was just at work loading mulch in the backs of truck beds and, like, listening to this. It's like, what the f-
How is the airman rescue doing?
He's doing really well. They're both doing well. You know, it was 2. And we held off the one because if they would have known we had him, so we held off the one. They are both recovering very well. They were both injured, and they're doing well. What else?
You said that Iran had no anti-aircraft equipment. How were they able to respond to those?
Well, you know what? When you do thousands and thousands of flights and you have one plane shot down and not mortally, the 2 pilots got out, they got a little bit lucky. And you know what? In war, you need a little bit of luck also. They got a little bit lucky. That's all they got.
He's like admitting they just got lucky. whatever.
It could end very quickly, the war. They do what they have to do. They have to do certain things. They know that. They've been negotiating, I think, in good faith. We've had total regime change. You know, the people there now are much more reasonable than the lunatics that you had in.
Okay, so he's claiming victory in the regime change. I thought we were going there to liberate the people. Yeah. Even though the regime hasn't changed at all, and they just put in, like, more staunch, you know, revolutionaries, effectively.
Phase 1 and Phase 2, they were lunatics. The people that we negotiated with.
Yeah, I agree. Ayatollah Khomeini should have built the nuke. He was a lunatic not to.
Now, on behalf of Iran, are much more reasonable. You can call it what you want, but I call it regime change, and I think most people are giving us credit for that. The first regime was taken out, the second regime was taken out. Now the third group of people that we're dealing with is not as radicalized, and we think they're actually much smarter.
Why did you use such vulgar language in that Truth Social post?
Only to make my point.
They're talking about the praise be Allah. Only to make my point. Yeah, I wasn't crying on my own personal social media platform because things aren't going well. And I suspect they're hiding the details of the rescue mission, and not every soldier made it back. But I haven't looked into this stuff enough yet to say for certain. I did see some evidence, but it's unverified, that Iran might have captured some prisoners of war, but, you know, I haven't been able to double check.
I think you've heard it before.
Mr. President, why did you say praise be to Allah?
Have you spoken to the families of the airmen that were saved?
Why did you say praise be to Allah? That's the biting question everybody's asking.
Going to be doing it right now.
Mr. President, what do you say to Americans who are not a fan of the war?
They're foolish, because the war is about one thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Had we not broken the Barack Hussein Obama agreement, you know what I'm talking about, the Iran nuclear deal. This is years ago, my first term. You would have had a total, Israel would have been gone, extinguished.
So he's basically admitting he destroyed the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, for Israel here. My Trump translator is saying, basically.
Israel would have been wiped off the face of the earth, and the entire Middle East would have been, at a minimum, in big trouble. But I did it. That was phase 1. We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. We'd still be winning, but it would have been harder. Because we are obliterating that country. And I hate to do it, but we're obliterating, and they just don't want to say...
Dude, this is like the most fucking upside down. This is like the most upside down setting to like say this stuff. You're fucking like happy jazz is playing in the background or whatever music this is, you know, and it's just Trump going on his like insane demagogic warmongering ramblings. Like one of his most insane moments yet as president. At least from what I've seen, you know.
Uncle. They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, but they will. And if they don't, they'll have no bridges, they'll have no power plants, they'll have no anything. I won't go further because there are other things that are worse than those two. And we might have, well, the thing, if I had my choice, what would I like to do? Take the oil. Because it's there for the taking. There's not a thing that...
So he said the war was to do regime change, and now he's saying, what would I like to do? Take the oil. Dude, he's literally contradicting himself, like, in the same, within like 2 sentences.
They can do about it. Unfortunately, the American people would like to see us come home. If it were up to me, I'd take the oil, I'd keep the oil.
Yeah, so, oh my god, dude, this is... I thought, I was, like, wondering if this was AI when I was listening to this at work, but because I was like, this is... They're just saying the quiet part out loud now. Straight up. Or at least he is.
I would make plenty of money. And I'd also take care of the people of Iran much better than...
Yeah, that's a secondary thought. Totally, yeah. I would also take... But first, if it were up to me, I'd like to take the oil and make me a lot of money. Oh, and also, just so you know, I'm not a bad guy. I'd like to take care of the people of Iran. Yeah, totally.
They've been taken care of. It's been a horrible... They've killed 45,000 people as of a month and a half ago. 45,000 protesters. We don't do that. So if I had my choice, I'd keep the oil. But I also want to make the people of our country happy. I think most people wouldn't understand that. I'll give you an example. Venezuela has worked out so incredibly. We have 100 million
So he's just admitting they fucking kidnapped Maduro so they could get a better deal on Venezuelan oil or just straight up steal it. Nice.
Of oil right now in Houston being refined. It's been great. The relationship with Venezuela, the leaders, has been fantastic. And I think we're going to have a long-term, very good relationship. And it might be beyond long-term. You understand what?
It's amazing, dude. I don't get what... American political commentators need to start taking themselves less seriously, because we live in this world now where we have President Pirate just admitting, like, hey, I'm doing these wars, these resource wars, so we can steal resources from nations I want to dominate. Me and the CIA want to dominate, so, yeah. That's where we're at.
Mr. President, when you say the Mr. President, when you say the American people don't want that, how do you know that? Are you listening to polls?
Well, I tell you what, I'm pretty good at this stuff, and I go around and I check. They'd like to see us win and come home. And I appreciate CNN for the first time maybe in my life. They did a poll, and everyone's saying, oh, is Trump losing MAGA? No, I'm not losing MAGA. MAGA loves what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and CNN did a poll of MAGA voters, a big poll, very important poll, Harry. And he went on, he said, this is amazing, 100% support. He said, I've never had a 100% poll at anything before. And it's, do you support Trump, MAGA people, which is, by the way, mostly Republican. And if you look, I would say MAGA makes up a majority, like about 95% of the Republican Party, all right? So they went out, they did a poll, and CNN came back 100% support. So they support what we're doing, but they would like to see it end and come back. But remember, wars last years. We're in there for 34 days. And we've obliterated a very powerful country in 34 days. Yeah, if it were up to me, I'd like to keep the oil. I just don't think the people of the United States would really understand.
45-day ceasefire. 45-day.
If it were up to me, I'd like to keep the oil. He keeps going back to it. It's like, yeah. This is madness, dude. What did the fucking libtard news anchors say about this shit? Because, like, I haven't gotten a chance to see.
Ceasefire, do you like that?
How is it taking care of the Iranian people if you're...
It's just like, yeah, I'm a pirate. I am President Pirate now. And I'd like to steal the oil. But, you know, the American people don't like that exactly, so, maybe we won't steal the oil. I don't know.
Yeah, who are you with? Who are you with? Yes. Well, that's a radical left group of lunatics that you're with.
PBS. Well, that's a radical left group of lunatics or whatever. Totally. Yeah, I love these. He's not even. I don't even think he believes that. Whatever.
Let me just tell you, very fair question. The Iranian people, when they don't hear bombs go off, they're upset. They want to hear bombs because they want to be free. And the only reason they're not...
Oh, brother, dude. This is like... maddening. Oh my god, he admitted it. You know, like that meme from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh my god, he admitted it. I can't believe he admitted it, dude. He's just like, yeah, people love getting bombed. When they hear a bomb go off at their neighbor's house, they like that. They think of that as freedom, dude.
Not out protesting, you know that, is because they were informed that if they protest, like the wrestler and his friends, if they protest, they will be shot immediately. And that's an edict, that's in writing. If they protest, if they go out in the streets, they will be immediately shot. They don't have guns. You know, we sent some guns, but the group that was supposed to give, which I said would happen to my people, I said it, I called it exactly. We sent guns, a lot of guns. They were supposed to go to the people so they could fight back against these thugs. You know what happened? The people that they sent them to kept them because they said, what a beautiful gun, I think I'll keep it.
So he's admitting that they're arming protest. They're trying to arm protests and inspire a color revolution in Iran. Or that they were doing that. That's cool. You know, I didn't think, like, I don't know. I didn't think we'd ever really get to the point where the mainstream narratives would be getting debunked by Trump, like, weeks later. Within weeks of them, you know, making this shit up where they killed, like, where they're like, Iran killed 30 bajillion protesters, yeah, in the span of 2 days. Oh, but you know, Israel, after 2.5 years of starving and bombing Gaza, they've only killed 70,000 people. But Iran was able to kill 30,000 in 2 days. Because that's what they want to do. Kill their own.
So I'm very upset with a certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that. But the Iranian people will fight back as soon as they know they're not going to be shot, and as soon as they can get weapons. If they had weapons, not many of them, if they had weapons that would go in the other way, and you know what would happen? Iran would give up in 2 seconds because they wouldn't be able to take it. But in Iran, they have absolutely no weaponry, and they've been told point blank, if you come out to the streets, you will be killed. As of this morning, and we have this on pretty good information, 45,000 protesters have been killed. Pretty bad.
Totally. Pretty bad. He's not even trying to, like, sell this shit anymore. It's fucking awesome. It's crazy, but yeah, as far as what I've been told, 45,000 protesters have been killed so far. Pretty bad. Yeah, totally. That's real.
You said Iran has been obliterated. Why are we still out there?
It's a good country. They can't fight back. They have no capability. I mean, they have some missiles left. They have some drones left, but essentially they have no capability. They had a lucky shot with an airplane, but we got them back out. The rescue was incredible. And it wasn't of one person, it was of 2 person. There are those that say that's never happened before, because usually when you're shot down in strong enemy and deep enemy territory, you can't go after them because you'll end up losing 250 people to get one. So it's a terrible thing. But we had to make a decision. Do we do it or do we not? And we did. And, you know, we have some helicopters with a lot of bullet holes in them right now. Probably you know that. Now, I'm very honored by I'm very honored to have rebuilt our military. We rebuilt our military in my first term. I'm using it in our second term, and we are the most respected country anywhere in the world with the greatest military anywhere in the world. Thank you. So we have a news conference. You'll all be there, so you can ask the question in a little while. We have a news conference in a little while. What would you like to ask her?
What she wants to say, Madam First Lady, can you tell us your message to children who find themselves in the
They just pan over. Melania is looking like a fucking hunched over. She's like, what the fuck am I doing here, man?
Well, all of this is happening for their future, so they will be safe in years to come.
Oh my god, dude. We're such a joke of a country.
We're fighting for children that are now in a war zone. We're keeping them as safe as we can possibly keep them. But we're fighting for their parents, their grandparents. We're fighting for them. We're fighting for their future. And I will tell you, it was given to me loud and clear.
You know, in the movies I grew up watching, the writers at least, you know, tried to make American fascism look like it was intelligent, but I guess this country is just far too dumb to elect intelligent fascists. So we got Trump instead. It's awesome.
Time the Iranian people are the most unhappy when you hear bombs all over is when those bombs stop. That's the problem. It's, when they stop, because that means that, are they coming back? We want to have them back. And, you know, everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. So hopefully it could be over with quickly. Again, there are lots of different alternatives. We have many alternatives. We could leave right now, and it would take them 15 years to rebuild what they have. We could leave right now. But I want to finish it up. Iran, ready, cannot have a nuclear weapon. They are lunatics. And you can't put nuclear weapons in the hands of a lunatic. Thank you very much.
Every accusation is a confession. So he did this press conference too today.
I hate that I can't keep this a secret. I canceled all my food delivery subscriptions and upgraded to Cook Unity. And it's totally...
Well, it's a great honor to be with you, and happy Easter. We had a great Easter. This is one of our better Easters, I think, in a lot of different ways. I can say militarily, it's been one of the best. So, good afternoon. We have quite a bit to discuss. We'll go into pretty good detail. And we have the people that are most involved. We'll give you exactitude. And we're here today to celebrate the success of one of the largest, most complex, most harrowing combat searches. I guess you would call it a search and rescue mission ever attempted by the military. Generally, when planes are knocked down in war, especially when you're fighting a strong group, an evil group, you can't really do this because you send in 200 men to pick up one, and it's something that's usually not attempted as much as you want to attempt. And bad things happen to that one or two. And in this case, we did too, and might not have been attempted before, but we did. And we had great talent. We got a little luck too, I would say. And
I think when he says we got a little luck too, that means it didn't go as planned. But they got most of the rescue mission operators out, I guess.
We were helped by a lot of people, a lot of great people. And it was an honor to be involved with it. It's very historic. This is a rescue that's very historic. It'll go down in the books. Late Thursday night, an American F-15 fighter jet went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well, well at a level that nobody's ever seen before. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night. Both members of the crew ejected from the aircraft and landed alive.
Brother, dude. They were, I want to call this a bluff, but they're honestly so insane, I'm afraid to do that, you know?
On Iranian soil, I immediately was asked to make a decision. I ordered the U.S. Armed Forces to do whatever was necessary to bring our brave warriors back home. A risky decision, because we could have ended up with 100 dead as opposed to 1 or 2. A hard decision to make. But in the United States military, we leave no American behind. We don't do it. Within hours, our armed forces deployed 21 military aircraft into hostile airspace. Many.
I guess we'll see once more details emerge, right?
Flying.
Because I think there were images, I think, of a dead body next to the helicopters. I don't know. I don't want to spread misinformation.
Being shot by bullets. You bring rifles into play when you go in that low.
I can't search Twitter for the pictures.
Also certain advantages. And in broad daylight over Iran for 7 hours, at times facing very, very heavy enemy fire. We have a helicopter that's got a lot of bullets in it. It's amazing. We just realized how good those weapons are. Those our machines are. Nobody has the equipment.
Am I banned from searching on Twitter?
We have not even close. The most powerful military anywhere in the world by far.
They just shut down my Twitter account,
aboard those
dude.
aircraft took extraordinary
I'm
risks
just allowed to
rescue
look
their
at my
fellow service
following
members.
feed.
This first wave of search and
For You.
rescue forces successfully located the pilot of the F-15, and he was extracted from enemy territory by an HH-60 Jolly Green II helicopter. A fabulous machine as our warriors faced gunfire at very close range. It's amazing that when you look at the machinery, what happened, that nobody was even injured. Meanwhile, the second crew member, a weapons system officer, highly respected colonel, had landed a significant distance away from the pilot. When you're going at those speeds, even if you go out 2 or 3 seconds later, it's miles and miles away because you're going fast. He was injured quite badly and stranded in an area teeming with terrorists from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps rough group, as well as besieged militia and local authorities. Many, on top of everything else, they told the communities actually within inside of Iran, the people of Iran, they were given a tremendous incentive to find this pilot. Despite the peril, the officer followed his training and climbed into the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to
That might
evade
have been
capture.
misinformation. God
They
damn
want
it,
to
buddy
always
head.
go as far away from the site of the shoot down. You want to go as far away because they all head right to that site. You want to be as far away as you can. And he was injured, and he was an amazing, amazing thing. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location. They have a very sophisticated beeper-type apparatus that is on them at all times. And when they go out on these missions, they make sure they have.
Yeah, so if they knew where he was at all times, why did the search and rescue take like 48 hours? Yeah, probably because they didn't know where he was at all times. So he's lying there, I think.
Lots of battery space, and they're in good shape. And this one worked really well, amazingly, saved his life. We immediately mobilized a massive operation to retrieve him from the mountain holdout, and he kept going higher and higher. The mountain kept getting rougher and rougher, and really very, very hard to find. The second rescue mission involved 155 aircraft, including 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircraft, and more. We were bringing them all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge.
That's like an air armada, dude. I didn't realize they had that. They pulled that out of their ass. That's like an all-out operation, dude.
Wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there. Thousands of people were looking at different locations all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge. We wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there.
Yeah,
Thousands of people were looking.
Misdirection.
So we wanted them to look in different areas, so we were right on top of them. We had 7 different locations where they thought, and they were very confused. They said, well, wait a minute, they've got groups here, they've got groups there. It's an amazing thing. I was listening to...
Work today is broken. Every day, people juggle so many different tools just to get...
These great people, these great generals.
You
General
dress
Raisin
like that to work, bro.
Kane was amazing, and Pete Hegseth was amazing. I listened to the whole thing; it was pretty amazing. So they had all these different sites where everybody thought he was located. We think we have him over there because they have 9 planes circling a little area that's 25 miles down the coast. So in a breathtaking show of skill and precision, lethality and force, America's military descended on the area, the real area, engaged the enemy, rescued the stranded officer, destroyed all threats, and exited Iranian territory while taking no casualties of any kind. The heroic F-15 weapons system officer had evaded capture on the ground in Iran for almost 48 hours. That's a long time when you're in tough shape and when you're bleeding. It's a long time. When we left, as you probably know, we had 2 large planes, pretty old planes that carried a lot. We needed a lot more equipment going in than coming out, obviously, because going in, we needed to be able to scale mountains. And we had a lot of equipment. But the sand was sandy, wet sand. So we thought there may be a problem taking off because of the weight of the plane. And then we also had all the men jumping back onto the planes. And they got pretty well bogged down. And we had a contingency plan, which was unbelievable, where lighter, faster aircraft came in, and they took them out. We blew up the old planes. We blew them up to smithereens because we had equipment on the planes that, frankly, we'd like to take, but I don't think it was worthwhile spending another 4 hours there taking it off. So we didn't want anybody to have. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. We didn't want anybody examining our anti-aircraft and other equipment. So these were large planes that were old and pretty old, and we blew them up. And we had faster, lighter planes come in, and they were able to land on the sand. We needed the bigger planes because we had so much equipment that we needed. We took 3 helicopters over there, which were very strongly used, and couldn't have lived without them. They did, and they performed unbelievably well. And if you'd see it, you wouldn't believe it. They came off the plane, and these guys had them. The rotors were off. They rebuilt these helicopters in less than 10 minutes, and that was one of the more amazing things. These are helicopters, small, unbelievably powerful, but small, very small, so it can get into certain areas. And they got them off the plane, and they rebuilt all 3 of them in a matter of less than 10 minutes. It's pretty amazing what the genius of these people. Who would think that? You'd think it would take 5 days to build them. And in some companies, it would take 5 days, and they wouldn't do it well. But they served us well. As Commander-in-Chief, I never forget the extraordinary risk taken by the warriors that we send into battle. And the genius, I mean, think of it, having a contingency of 3 planes waiting because we think the sand is so bad that we probably won't be able to take off. And the planes really got bogged. This was not much of a runway. This was a farm, not a runway. It's a farm, but it did the trick. But to have a contingency as opposed to having to wait 2 days, can you imagine right in the middle? This was central. This was right, you would call it central casting if you were doing a movie for location. And probably the toughest area of Iran where we'd be sitting there. So these planes came in, those pilots came in so fast and so quick and got out of there. Everybody got aboard and just got 15-minute intervals, one low. It's just not something that's done. And you'd understand it, not an hour, and then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about. There's some things you can't do because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot.
Yeah, okay.
So in addition to it, but we have to find that leaker because that's a sick person.
Okay.
We'll go to jail.
Well, I guess there's a leaker. There's a mole. Could also just be like a deranged moron working for Trump who thinks he can get away with like leaking stuff to the media. That's, you know, pretty spicy or help boost their career in some way if they don't get caught, or save their own skin, maybe. I don't know. Or there's a comrade on the inside. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, I'm bored of Trump. That was pretty wild. Pray for Iran, because who knows what we'll be waking up to tomorrow or Wednesday. The ground invasion, if they actually go through with that, or like some dumbass uranium heist mission, could start over the weekend. So buckle up for $10 a gallon if you're an American. And, the rest of the world is pretty much straight up screwed if they actually fully commit to this insanity. But we'll be feeling it here in America too, so don't kid yourselves. Anyway, YouTubers, if you enjoyed that commentary, like and subscribe, please, on y'all. Ching, ching. Click that like button. Do it now. I don't know. Whatever. Bye-bye, YouTubers.